Welcome everyone. G-Man here from Views from the Stands, and we got our Week 3 Steelers preview, guys, and I'm very excited to talk about my 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers as we get closer to Sunday, and we have our home opener. First game at AccuSure Stadium, so very excited to watch this game. Two undefeated teams, both 2-0, and yeah, let's get into it. So Justin Fields will be the starter. If anybody was hoping for Russell Wilson, unfortunately he will not be playing. It's pretty much just a week by week kind of situation here. So just some stats and some key stats later on. But the first stuff here for the Steelers. I mean, we're pretty identical in terms of total offense and defense. So basically, offense is we're averaging about 260 yards, and the total defense is averaging 260 yards. Defense is fifth in the league. We are 29th, so we're not the worst, but we're pretty much one of the bottom teams. And that's just kind of it's how it's been. We talked about it in the post game kind of video earlier this week. With Russell Wilson Fields, can Russell Wilson give us some more explosive plays, so on and so forth. So I mean that's a byproduct of how we've been playing offense right now. But at the same time, we're 2-0, no turnovers, and I mean at the end of the day, I mean all you really want from your teams is to win. Chargers rushing attack, they average about 197 yards per game, and they are also the second ranked defense in the NFL at 227 yards per game. Their defense, they have a great scheme. A lot of teams are starting to use it, even in college. My Trojans use it, obviously, and yeah. So I mean, this is definitely going to be a huge test for us offensively. Huge test for us defensively. From an offensive standpoint, real quick, just like what that stat said, can we move the ball? Can we be efficient? Can we at least get to our 260? Right, they're averaging 227. We average 260. So can we at least get to that 260 mark? I think that's the question from my viewpoint. We need to push the ball in the air more, in my opinion. I know penalties have hurt us in the past. We could be penalty free on the offensive side, especially with the old line. We have a good chance to have more opportunities to throw the ball and get yardage there. So hopefully that is the case. From a fan's perspective, I want Broderick Jones on the left tackle. I want Troy, the rookie that we got on the right side. I'm sorry, Dan Moore. I know you've been doing good. I want to see these two young guys on the edges on that line and go from there. So I mean that's really the key. Make sure you're not turning the ball over still. Let's get yardage. They're very stout. Let's push the ball through the air. And lastly, penalties. Control the penalties, minimize the penalties, and let's do it. All right, next stat here, and this kind of goes into the defense now, is can Chargers running back J.K. Dobbins get rolling against a Pittsburgh defense that is only allowing 76 yards per game on the ground? So the first 2 weeks, we faced Bijan Robinson. Last week, we faced Denver Broncos. Yeah, I mean, given the situation of how these two games played, that's a very amazing stat in my opinion. The games, weren't, like game script didn't change. Those teams that we played were still able to move the ball, could have moved the ball, run the ball more, so on and so forth. So, but I would say that is our weakness is the passing game, right? Is attacking our DBs. We're still pretty young, and just how the scheme plays, in my opinion. But that's the big key for us. If we need to stop the run. We need to make it one-dimensional for the Chargers offense, in my opinion. They don't really have big-time weapons from a wide receiver standpoint, playmaker standpoint. But I mean, it's a Jim Harbaugh team, Jim Harbaugh offense. I mean, they're gonna scheme pretty well. Greg Roman's there. We kind of understand we have familiarity there, so that's great. And that's the big thing I really like about this matchup is that we're familiar with, especially on the offensive side. So I think we can slow down that rushing attack. I'm not sure if it's still going to be more than that 76 yards. I can't say, but I do feel confident enough to say that it will be under that 197. No, maybe. Um, but yeah. So this game started off 2.5. It's down to 1.5. The over and under is 30, 35.5. It was at 36. I mean, this is going to be just a gritty game, man. Back and forth, defense all around. The offenses are going to be pretty slow and not efficient enough. And pretty much the key to this entire game is who can turn over the ball less, who can play better defense, and those two outcomes, those are going to be the winners. So obviously, I'm going to be choosing my Steelers as always, but those are the keys, man. Again, if we can do those things, we will win this game. If we won't, which we'll be talking about post game, we'll definitely mention that. So, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. We're getting closer to game day, home opener. Very excited. Peace.